Brandon, after 4 years of this Bloodline saga, it all has brought us to the Raw on Netflix event, where Reigns now is once again Tribal Chief, and I gotta ask you, it feels like we have hit a bit of a brick wall. How do we get over this wall? Especially in regards to The Rock's character completely changing.
I guess really, it doesn't matter what I think. But since you asked, I like to think that's a normal Rock conversation.
That's how he talks to everybody.
I know my opinion doesn't matter, but you should totally get a better 401k and maybe some health insurance.
The difference with The Rock, though, is that nobody fucking asked. He's just like, I know it doesn't matter what I think. Yeah, we know that too. But
that's a whole nother just universe, is The Rock being a Karen.
That's not just an incredible character, that's probably pretty true.
In terms of The Rock as a character in WWE television now, it was definitely a curveball. I guess you could call it the real-life Rock, as opposed to the final boss.
That is such a great way to look at it. It was like interview Dwayne Johnson.
He is just shooting the shit with Cody Rhodes like they're best friends.
Yeah, super weird.
I feel like this was their non-organic way of acknowledging the fact that Roman Reigns turned face, but they never really acknowledged The Rock turning face at all.
Well, that's because I don't think he was. I think something changed.
The question is, what?
It's to the point where it feels like he had plans to be at WrestleMania 41, and I kind of don't think those plans exist anymore.
At least not at the capacity that he was maybe hoping for. Based off of the look that he gave Roman putting on the Ula Fala, that was a look of we'll see, I think.
But that was not a look that felt like it was leading to this year. That was a look that felt more like it was leading to next year's Mania or SummerSlam. But how are you going to have that if they're both the babyface? The only way I feel like a Rock and Roman match can happen now is if Rock is secretly still a heel.
I don't see any consistency in terms of what they're doing with The Rock now. From like a business perspective as somebody on the board, maybe that's the way he's trying to look at things now.
Like almost in a Triple H sense?
Sorta, kinda, I guess. I guess what's confusing me about it, though, is that he was wearing Final Boss gear.
Yeah, and I thought the whole storyline was Triple H and Rock are not friendly. Going into WrestleMania 40, they were clearly on the opposing ends of things.
And so for it to just be at the snap of a finger, he's good guy Rock again? I don't know if I like that.
And I think it kind of makes Cody look a little worse. Because The Rock is taking a little jab at Mama Rhodes, and they're like laughing along. I feel like Cody Rhodes should have been like, what the hell? What did you just say about my mom? And if you don't even want to talk about Cody Rhodes, let's talk about Solo. The Bloodline, the whole group, this whole thing was about, they feel like they could be fired and WWE would not change.
I genuinely don't know what you do with Solo Sikoa at this point.
The closest I can think is maybe him versus LA Knight, but I'm not in love with that.
Even then what's next?
All I can think of is Solo has been kicked out of the main event scene.
In all fairness, I don't think he should have ever been put in that position. At least not as quickly as he was.
If you want to talk about like going back and changing things, now that this whole Bloodline storyline, as far as I can tell, is seemingly kind of wrapping up, at least this chapter of it, I'm thinking Jimmy Uso should have led the Bloodline. This is just an idea I'm just coming up with as I'm speaking. You could still have Jimmy kind of building up the Solo as his silent Umaga, with Jacob Fatu also coming in, and the Tongans. Honestly, the worst thing about Jey Uso right now is I think he's going to end up back in the Usos tag team division.
He's going to end up back in the Usos penitentiary.
Yeah, and just end up stuck in the tag team division again. But if Jimmy was to have gone completely that way, like looking back, Jimmy Uso and Solo Sikoa, Mob Boss, like those characters aren't too far off.
It's definitely a very interesting way to look at it. I can't say I agree with having Jimmy be the leader of all of this.
But let's talk about the big guy on campus finally.
Ryback?
Holder of the Ula Fala, Ryback.
Ryback's version of Tribal Chief is just sitting at the head of the table at Oriental Buffet. Feed me more.
Reigns now has the Ula Fala. Where does he go? Because now it kind of feels like he himself is kind of leaving the Bloodline saga.
Personally, I think it kind of feels like, really, what else is there you can do? Like, you had one hell of a world title reign, took a break, came back with one of the most massive pops I've ever been in attendance for. I don't know what else you do. I mean, aside from that Rock versus Roman match, but we've already said that probably isn't going to happen.
A part of me kind of thinks Reigns is gonna turn heel again. Like, he never apologized. Reigns is just a babyface for no reason. Whatever they have cooking with Reigns next clearly is going to be something out of left field. Whether it's the CM Punk with Paul Heyman thing, whether it's The Rock doing some sort of turn back into a heel. Roman Reigns is now at a stage where, for the first time in a very long time, his character doesn't have the clearest direction.
It's a very foggy future for the rest of the Bloodline, whether it's the OG or 2.0. If we just wanted to bullshit a story to get something for Roman and Fatu, that is something that people have been wanting to see. I guess you could have it be a thing where he does generally same gist of what Solo did, where he doesn't view Solo as the tribal chief anymore, so he turns his back on him.
Yeah, then he takes on Reigns. But then Solo and the Tongans are also then even further buried. Maybe he goes after Cena? He did beat him. Like, not at Mania, but like Elimination Chamber.
Yes, main event, WrestleMania, Solo Sikoa versus John Cena, last ever WrestleMania.
Man, a couple of videos you were pitching Randy versus Cena for the WWE title? Nah, Cena versus Solo for the WWE title.
No, I feel like that one should be for the Intercontinental.
Sheamus beats Braun, Solo beats Sheamus, Solo loses to Cena at Mania. I would not be against that.
I wouldn't be completely against it. The only thing that I would change about it is completely get rid of Solo and have Sheamus versus Cena. Sheamus and Cena could probably do some fun stuff.
Sheamus especially is such a different wrestler now.
Yeah, and all of that was still in really the adolescence of Sheamus' career, where, to me, I feel like he was still very much finding who the Celtic warrior character was. Fella.
Roman Reigns, he beat Solo for the Ula Fala. Sheamus is gonna beat him to turn it into the Ula Fala.
Why do I even talk to you?
Well, with this chapter of the Bloodline seemingly coming to an end, that will conclude this video.
Let us know what you guys think. Could we get, like, a completely united Bloodline? It just looks like the Last Supper.
Kevin over there is on his Last Supper. If you don't like, comment, and subscribe.
It makes Kevin's insides feel all warm.